to get going. Gotta catch those runners taking off like a Boeing. If the volume spikes, then it's time to trade. Mighty 90 setting up, it's time to get paid. Navigation trading on the mic, time to get focused. We don't need any indicator, hocus pocus. It's all about the price, just watch it move. Manage your risks so you don't lose. First hour of trading is all we need. Focus on the patience and forget about greed.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's day trading live stream for Monday, March 30th. S&P futures up 55, NASDAQ up 182, Russell up 25, and the Dow is up 392. Looks like the Russell's the strongest, up a full percent. NASDAQ up about 3/4, and S&P up about 0.85. Gold's up 1.5%, silver's up 2%. Notes and bonds are pretty green. Bonds are up over 1%. 10-year yield down 1.6. Oil is up 2%. Natural gas is down 4.5%. Soybeans a little bit green. Wheat and corn red. Euro and the pound are down 1/3%. And Bitcoin catching a bid up 3%. How's everybody doing today? Back at my normal battle station, ready to go. VIX is down 4.2%, 29.74 at the freeze. Looks like SPX has an expected range today of about almost 52 points. VIX contracting, so I'm not going to do a 1 DTE iron condor at the open. Also, no Friday options, so there's no 3-4 DTE put calendar at the open. The market is closed on Friday for good old Friday. We do have Powell speaking 1 hour after the market opens today. Due to participate in a moderated discussion at Harvard University in Massachusetts. That's all it says. So I don't know that I'll pay too much attention to that. Might be fairly done with the day trades by that point anyway, but just FYI, that's kind of the only thing really scheduled for today. The old interest rate comments have kind of taken a back seat to the whole Iran situation anyway, but something to be aware of. I don't know if there's any cost you bets on this one, on the Harvard speech. All right, opening bell in about 20 seconds. Got crypto stocks up. SNDK is up 4%. MU's up 1.5%. Tesla's up 1%. Amazon up 1%. Netflix is red. Just a handful of red. Most are green. Coming into the open, FSLY is up 5%. I am going to model out a 10-11 and a 11-14 double calendar for potential early entries here. I'll do that before we get started here. So we got the S&P and NASDAQ kind of bouncing. Russell is coming down. Some of the chip stocks are bouncing. NVIDIA, AVGO, AMD. Tesla. Apple coming down to unchanged. Bitcoin a little bounce. Amazon pushing up to pre-market highs. AMD's pushing. NASDAQ's little bounce getting pushed back down. Meta coming back down. Some of the chips pulling back. All right, indices coming down a little bit. AMD is holding up well. I just got filled on a 1011 DTE. I'm going to post that. Okay, got that posted. Netflix is bouncing after flushing below previous day low. I'm going to load up some calls in AMD. It's holding up well above pre-market highs, even with this push down. SMH is really falling and AMD is holding. AMD would be the 3 DTE options. And I would trade the 210 calls. Apple super weak, Nvidia going red. All the indices coming down pretty hard. Let's see if AMD holds that pre-market high level. On the short side, Nvidia is kind of breaking below its pre-market low. Netflix is bouncing. It's going green now. Amazon strong. For Amazon calls, I would trade the 2 DTE. Then it would be the 202.5 calls. AMD still dipping. But Amazon is showing some really good relative strength now. Yeah, chips coming down, SMH coming down with big volume. Nvidia is bouncing back up to pre-market lows. If I were to take Nvidia puts, I would use the 2DTE 167.5s. I'm watching Amazon for calls, Nvidia for puts. MU super weak. NVIDIA just pushed back down through lows. Amazon dipping as well. No entry yet. Netflix is pushing. NVIDIA now approaching previous day low. Wasn't quick enough on any entry there. Did anybody take NVIDIA puts? Amazon kind of dipping a little bit, holding up decent. AMD, which was strong early, gave it all up. Google trying to bounce. All downhill in the indices so far.
Order filled.
NVIDIA, a little flush of previous day low, trying to bounce. Amazon couldn't hold. NVIDIA back in the green. Russell dipped into the red, trying to bounce. Amazon giving it all up. AMD is trying to come back up. I would be potentially interested in a reclaim of that pre-market high level in AMD. Nice bounce. Still on the 210 calls is what I have loaded. I'm going to go ahead and take AMD here. 210 calls filled at 319 and 320. SMH had a nice flush below previous day low. It's starting to bounce. See if these chips can get some legs here. AMD looks like it wants to be the leader if they do bounce. A little bit of an aggressive entry in AMD. AMD kind of rejecting here. Tesla trying to bounce, PLTR trying to bounce. Probably could have been a little more patient on my AMD entry, but I liked that flush and recover after it flushed lows of day. Looked like it wanted to take back that pre-market high, but rejected right there after I entered. SMH back through lows. I'm going to have to cut AMD if we don't get a bounce here. SNDK testing its previous day low. Yeah, SMH staying weak now. Wanted to see SMH reclaim that previous day low and AMD continue to bounce, but we're seeing some weakness here, so may need to cut. S&P, NASDAQ continuing to fall. Russell in the red. NVIDIA's trying to stay green. Tesla staying green, bouncing. AVGO weakness continuing. Intel continued weakness. NVIDIA's holding well. NVIDIA kind of looks like it wanted to just flush previous day low and then bounce. Being a little bit patient with AMD. I went in with a little smaller size and just giving it a little bit of breathing room here. Amazon still falling. Indices all downhill. All down from the open. PLTR is trying to bounce.
Order partially filled. Order filled. Order filled.
Tesla, decent little bounce. Nvidia is still holding green. Need to see the rest of the chips bounce here. Amazon's starting to bounce now. Tesla really getting some legs now. AMD little bounce. Let's see if it can get anything going here. This is really, I mean, this is too much of a pullback than I would typically like to see. But just being a little bit patient here with this big sell-off. See if we get a little bit of a snapback. PLTR is trying to go green. Amazon big bounce. Nvidia couldn't hold, a little bit back in the red. Microsoft bouncing, Amazon big bounce, Tesla big bounce. Netflix pulled back, trying to hold in green territory. Okay, AMD's still coming down here. All right, I gotta cut AMD. Filled at 213. Yeah, continued weakness here. Zero sustained bounce in the indices. Tesla's bounce getting pushed back down. Russell's down almost 0.5%. S&P and NASDAQ approaching red territory. Nvidia through lows.
Order partially filled. Order filled.
NASDAQ touching unchanged. Russell leading the indices down. Amazon still trying to bounce. Netflix still trying to hold. Apple starting to bounce. AMD all the way down to unchanged. SMH is down almost 2% with some big volume. AVGO falling hard, down over 2%. MU's down over 4%. Amazon still bouncing pretty aggressively. That's about the only thing. Microsoft is kind of holding. It's just kind of choppy, though. Amazon definitely the most relative strength on this little flush. Most things flushing. AMD trying to hold green on the day. MSTR is still up 1.5%, but been weak since the open. IWM, all the indices starting to bounce a little bit. PLTR still coming down. A lot of the chip stocks still staying weak. Bitcoin's still coming down. Still just kind of keeping an eye on Amazon here. That's about it. Tesla, big bounce again. S&P and Russell seeing their biggest bounces of the day. All right, pretty decent little bounce in SPY now, and IWM. NASDAQ not quite as strong. Still below its previous candle high. Little dip coming back in. Google back through lows of day. Meta through lows. Goog really flushing now. Now, for me, what I'd be looking for is some type of reversal pattern to set in, and then look for which stocks are showing the most relative strength.
Order cancelled. Order filled.
Still potentially Amazon.
Order partially filled. Order filled.
All right, S&P, NASDAQ's dip, getting bought up a little bit. Some of the chips starting to bounce a little bit. AVGO, NVIDIA, AMD back above previous day high. It held staying green. PLTR starting to bounce. NASDAQ staying green. Nice, Watson. All right, seeing some bouncing coming in now. Nvidia trying to get back in the green. Nvidia going green. Meta big bounce. Chips getting the biggest bounce. Nice bounce in AMD. SMH starting to get some legs. Bitcoin bouncing. See if NASDAQ and S&P can get back above this pre-market low area. Testing it right now. Chips definitely leading the bounce. Be back in just a minute. S&P and NASDAQ just kind of holding right at that pre-market low level. S&P and NASDAQ kind of reacting off that pre-market low back down. I've got some QQQ puts loaded up. It's the 562 0 DTEs. So if this thing holds and wants to continue lower, looking at the Q puts. Watching the cues. All right, I'm going to take some Q puts. Filled at 166. So we're going to move back down to lows of day and beyond. Got my first profit target at $1.95 on those, which is just above lows of day. Yeah, VIX holding above 30.
Order filled. Order cancelled.
Bitcoin dipping again. Russell back below previous day low. S&P and NASDAQ both rejecting pre-market lows. Almost hit my profit target. Oh, nice. Yeah, MSTR going through lows. Needed a little bit more lower to hit a profit target. Didn't quite get there. I think it hit about 193. Indices, a little bounce, getting pushed back down. Bitcoin coming back down to lows. Russell staying the weakest. Need a little low of day flush. AMD's big bounce getting pushed back down. MU staying weak. Amazon starting to bounce again. Microsoft starting to bounce. Meta bouncing. Microsoft's been super choppy, starting to act like it may want to break out. Pushed up to previous day high. Just one more little flushy flush before we bounce. How about it? How about it? Jerome will start talking here in about 5 minutes. But based on the kind of discussion, it may not even actually say anything for a little while into the talk. I'd feel a little better if that little dip had hit my first profit target. Don't like the way some of these big tech are bouncing. NVIDIA kind of chopping around unchanged. Tesla pretty choppy as well. Apple staying weak, chopping below previous day low. SMH kind of rolling back over. MU back down towards lows. Intel heading back toward lows. Microsoft kind of paused at previous day high after that bounce. All right, NASDAQ coming back down a little bit. I may need to lower my profit target. Got a little bit of premium decay on these 0 DTEs. I'm going to lower it from 195 to 190. Bitcoin through lows, MSTR new lows. IWM still leading the way down. NVIDIA back below previous day low. Once again, getting close to my profit target. Need a little bit more. Little bit more fleshy flush. MU through lows. PLTR back below previous day low. And NASDAQ bounced again. Just couldn't quite hit me. Of my morning big tranches, just had one put stop out. I'm going to do a discretionary 1 DTE after this little vol expansion. Come on, NASDAQ. Little low of day. That's all we're looking for. That's all we're asking. Russell, a little reject of previous day low again. Oh, I forgot to post. I've got a working order on my transformer. Microsoft is ripping up 2%. Pushed through highs of day, pushed above previous day high. But the indices still acting weak. We need Jay Powell to drop the 7 new rate hikes before the end of the year comment. I think that would do it. I think that would get us through Lowe's day. Tezzy just kind of chopping. Amazon's still kind of grinding up. Trying to get back up to that pre-market high level. IWM approaching lows of day. So I have my profit target at $1.90 on the Qs. Trading there it is, $1.90. Little tick through lows of day. Bitcoin still coming down. Well, is that all we got? Just a little head fake through lows. I put in another order at $2.20 in case we were going to make a quick dip down to previous day low. Still kind of bouncing here. S&P has not made its way back to lows. So NASDAQ was definitely the better choice over SPY at that same pre-market low level. Russell would have been even better. What else you got, JP? I mean, you don't have anything good to say, JP. Let's just get all the bad news out of the way right now. NASDAQ back in the green, chopping around unchanged. Microsoft holding strong. AMD flushing. AMD really coming down now. Tesla through lows, or two lows, kind of ticked right at lows of day, it looks like. Oh, by the way, I originally had on the calendar no power hour today, but we will be doing power hour. I posted in the live schedule channel that we will be doing it. FYI. A little change in the schedule. We'll be back to our regularly scheduled live streams, morning and power hour. All right, NASDAQ dipping back in the red a little bit. Let's see if we got another leg lower here. And then we'll call it a wrap. I'm going to move my next profit target down to 215. Want to get filled if we get close to previous day low here. Anybody in the queues with me? Russell making a new low, NASDAQ new low. Come on. A little bit lower. Bitcoin coming back down. Just me and Elliot? We're the only Q bears? Microsoft pulling back. I would be interested in a long in Microsoft here. Kind of around previous day high. because it appears if the indices can bounce, it may be ready to go. All right, check the Canucks on board. Tesla going red. Q's trading at about 210. Profit target's at 215. There it is, 215 hit. All right, so I've just got a few left here. S&P still hasn't broken lows of day. I'll try to take a couple more off at 240. See if we can get out if S&P gets down through lows. Bitcoin new lows. Microsoft holding a little dip buy up too. Apple going through lows. Russell still making new lows. The double calendar that I put on this morning's holding up really well. Well, I don't like the way that I played AMD this morning. Got a little too aggressive on my entry and held the loser too long. All right, Nasdaq's starting to bounce a little bit. All right, I'm going to wrap the stream. I will finish off my QQQ trade in the trade channel. Now we're starting to bounce. Microsoft pushed a new high. Now Amazon's starting to get aggressive. I'll stay on here for a couple more minutes here. Need to see a little reject here in Q's to keep holding. He said we have a dual mandate and we are going to be data driven, and I'm just kidding. I didn't hear what he said, but I'm just guessing. Amazon popping. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get out of my queues here. All right, all. That's a wrap. I will watch here a few more minutes, see if I can see if I want to potentially take a long in Microsoft or Amazon, but otherwise, most likely done on the day trades for the day. We'll be back for Power Hour. Everybody have a good rest of your day. Talk to you soon.